This big, beautiful bill is going to kill thousands of us. I did my master's degree researching the economic impact and health impact of the Affordable Care Act. So indulge me for a second while we go through the numbers on a very simple chart, and then we can listen to our guy Bernie describe how bad this actually is. This represents the total percentage of GDP expenditure in the United States on healthcare. What we can see is from the 60s, healthcare spending is eating up a bigger piece of our pie every single decade, and if you break it down by year, every single year. The Affordable Care Act was officially put into effect in 2010, and what we can see here is in 2010, it managed to maintain the same level of economic impact as a percentage of GDP as in 2009, and it continued to do so relatively all the way up until COVID in 2019. The Affordable Care Act insured 20 million more Americans than before it was implemented, and we did not increase the piece of the pie that our healthcare was costing us. When you're looking at legislation that improves the public's good, this is a perfect example of how much room for improvement we have in healthcare, where we can literally insure people and save people's lives while costing the taxpayers nothing. Now, I've clipped through Bernie Sanders' recent video in order to pull out the really important stuff about this big, beautiful bill. Let's take a look.
Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill, now on the floor of the Senate, is one of the most dangerous pieces of legislation ever brought forth in the modern history of our country. The top 1% is receiving $975 billion in tax breaks. Further, and this is really quite unbelievable, the wealthiest 0.2% receive a $211 billion estate tax break. In that provision, 99.8% of Americans get zero. Further, large corporations in this bill get a $918 billion tax break. So here's what you get. This bill throws over 16 million people off of the health insurance they have by slashing Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act by over $1.1 trillion. So, $1 trillion in tax breaks for the 1%, $1 trillion in cuts in Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. This bill throws over 16 million people off of the health insurance they have by slashing Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act by over $1.1 trillion. What the Yale School of Public Health and the University of Pennsylvania estimate is that if this reconciliation bill is enacted, and it's unbelievable for me to say this, but this is what they are telling us, this is what they have studied. If this bill goes through and all these healthcare cuts take place, over 50,000 Americans will die unnecessarily each and every year. 50,000 Americans. In other words, this bill is a horrific death sentence for low income and working class Americans. Further, if this legislation is enacted, rural hospitals all over the country that are already struggling would be forced to shut down. It would also make massive cuts to community health centers and nursing homes. And that's not all. This bill wipes out nutrition assistance for millions of hungry kids at a time when we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of nearly any major nation on earth. This bill will also make it much harder for working class kids to receive the higher education they need by cutting education by some $350 billion. At a time when the planet is struggling with climate change, heat waves now all over the world, this bill decimates investment in energy efficiency and sustainable energies like wind and solar. This bill makes a bad situation even worse by handing out another $150 billion to the Pentagon, a 15% increase in an already bloated Pentagon budget.
It can't be more clear. There has never been a better time than today to be an oligarch in the United States. We are picking the pockets of hard-working community members in order to increase the wealth of the top 1% and the top 0.01%. On top of that, we are reinforcing our military complex and increasing our Pentagon's budget by more than inflation yet again. 50,000 Americans are estimated to die per year from this bill, from Yale's current estimates, just off of the healthcare cutting. This is the worst legislation that has been passed within your and my lifetime, potentially ever. $20 million Americans received health care that they did not have through the Affordable Care Act, and it reined in healthcare spending at the same time. This not only undoes all of that, but it does a million other things that are even worse. It goes after the hardworking individuals in rural neighborhoods, like our farmers. It goes after our children. And then, on top of that, it just decides to increase our military spending so we can go kill a bunch of people in other countries while we're killing our own citizens. The United States is really turning into the worst country in the entire world at the moment when it comes to how it treats its own citizens with its massive amounts of wealth, and then how it just dips its hands into everyone else's pockets and kills as many people as necessary in order for our stupid oligarchs to make a buck. This does not have to be how this country operates. We can come together and fight it. It's going to take a lot of hard work. This is decades in the making. Warren Buffett talked about in the early 2000s how there's a class warfare going on, but it was only being launched by the billionaires, and guess what? They were winning at that time. It's only now that class consciousness seems to be waking up. You and me. We can fight this. It's going to take all of us coming together and not allowing ourselves to be stepped on. There's that terrible flag that is linked to racism and all sorts of other bad stuff nowadays. The Don't Tread on Me flag. We are being stampeded on right now. If you made it this far in the video, please join the community. Like and subscribe and share this video. And leave a comment down below. Tell me what we need to do to come together to fight this, because it's completely unacceptable. The numbers don't add up. Or worse, they do. And they all add up towards killing us in order for the oligarchs to make a buck. I really do hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.